Sounds like a.
Hello, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to the Coast-to-Coast Combat Hour, brought to you weekly by AllAccessMMA.com. I'm your host, Matthew Hawkins, and as always, I'm joined by my co-host, Ed Carbajal. Ed, heavyweight title was decided over the weekend.
Decided. That's a good way to put it.
Uh, didn't go as anybody on this in the world, I think, could have possibly planned.
Yeah.
But good overall event, huh?
Yeah. I mean, not for nothing. Even with the fights that were scratched and the fights that were scratched and the picks that I had not really going my way. Because you had Figueiredo picked, didn't you?
No, I picked Moreno. I was
You did
kind of
pick Moreno. Yeah.
leaning towards chaos with Figueiredo, and
Yeah.
we got. I
Uh,
mean, let's just jump right into that fight before we go into anything
yeah.
else.
Yeah.
Another, just another outstanding 5 rounds from Davison Figueiredo and uh, and and Brandon Moreno. Figueiredo picks up the 3 rounds to 2 decision win, gaining his title,
Yeah.
and setting the now trilogy at 1-1-1. Uh,
So they're gonna fight 4 times, and I don't mind it at all. And I mean, to be honest, as long as they got it in them, they could fight it like every 3 months for all I'm concerned. Because that every single fight, I know I said it from the first one to and the second one and this last one, has had me standing up and yelling at my TV, which I never do when I watch fights at home. But every single one of their fights has done that for me, and not for nothing, man. Like my neighbors were looking at me weird on Sunday morning when I walked out of here because they were like, who was he arguing with? I'm just like, I was just going crazy. I mean, I haven't gone crazy like that since like Mexican boxing, the days of Chavez, and you know what I mean. Like that's the last time I went crazy for fights like that, and when Justin Gaethje fights. But
No, I mean, I get it. It was great. It's what we expected. I don't think anybody. There was no chance it was going to be a snoozer. There was no chance. The guys had put too much into the cage together for us to think that there was going to be anything other than a great back and forth. The only thing I guess would be maybe as if they were, if there was a little bit of a waiting out period early on,
mhm.
but we didn't get that. Um, you know, Moreno won more minutes of the fight than Figueiredo,
Mhm.
probably roughly 20 minutes to maybe 5. But in those 5 minutes, Figueiredo dropped Moreno
Yeah.
a couple, not a handful, but a couple times, and really kind of stole rounds. And you know that's it's not always easy to watch, especially if you're rooting for a certain fighter, to see him lose a decision like that. But by no means was it a robbery. I could see it going 3 rounds to 2 either fighter. Uh, but I mean, I got texted afterwards that some people weren't happy with the decision, and I go, dude, we're gonna get to
Yeah.
see it again. We get to
Yeah.
see it again. Like this was a
Yeah.
fight where the fans like really win. They talk
So
about the fans winning, and really,
I mean, I honestly I didn't disagree as much as it hurt. I didn't disagree with the decision. I I thought it maybe it could have been a split decision, but getting dropped, especially in any combat sport, when you drop somebody, that will weigh heavily. I think at the when the time runs out. Um, it is what it is, man. I mean, the leg kicks were an issue, so I hope Moreno works on that. I mean, I know he a lot like Chael Sonnen made a point about his how annoying his and I mentioned it too when we were doing our predictions, that annoying hand position where he holds his hands when he's fighting. But I know he's doing it to start off an exchange. And if you watch this last fight, it was one of the things that Figueiredo's corner was telling them: don't let him draw you into those exchanges because you lose on those. And he did. He does. I mean, like we even saw it almost happen a few times. So I mean, either all this stuff is just reasons for them to fight again. I mean, I would hate for the division to get held up because they keep fighting each other. But at some point, it's got to someone's the next one's definitely what has to settle it, unless it's another draw.
a draw or a no contest, or
Hmm.
we haven't gotten to that yet. Where they fight 3 rounds and then there's some kind of foul. Hopefully that doesn't
Nah.
happen. But yeah, fourth fight's definitely gonna happen. I don't think anybody's gonna be disappointed in it, other than some of the other top 5 contenders
Hmm.
in the flyweight division. But I mean, just I it's amazing what these two guys have done for the 125-pound division.
Yeah.
I know Demetrius Johnson was a dominant champion, but this is, I mean, it's becoming the most, this is like the most exciting matchup in the sport right now, you know?
Yeah.
And that's wild. Then you had the main event, Francis Ngannou, Cyril Gane unifying the heavyweight championship. Thought Gon would. I think we both kind of thought Gon might use his
Hmm.
movement, avoid the big punch, which he
Yeah.
did. Um, but he was just a little too gun shy, maybe too worried about that big shot. Didn't get a whole lot of offense going, at least not enough to pick up a decision win. And Ngannou kind of shocks the MMA world by actually being the one to do the takedowns and
Hmm.
control on
Especially
the
with bad
bottom.
knees. I mean, he's got to get surgery and everything, and I mean to even do all that again. That's why these guys do what they do, and we sit and watch them home and watch it because they're cut from a different cloth. For him to do all that at that level and still, win decisively. But one thing I wanted to ask you about the aftermath of it, because I was trying to think, and when I did the vlog that I do for MMAnews.com, I mentioned wanting to ask you this. That's why I'm checking my notes. Um, I can only think of one other time when Dana White did not put the belt on someone. It was with the Khabib Connor aftermath when the riot and all that stuff happened. Not riot, but then he attacked Dylan Dennis after, and Dana White was like, I can't put this belt on you. Everyone will attack the cage or whatever he says to him afterward. So I could only think of that one other time when he doesn't put the belt on the champion. Um, is there something I'm missing? I feel like might be something from maybe
It's happened before.
like the Tito Ortiz days or something.
Yeah, I don't even think it's that old. Gosh, I'd have to go back and think about it. But I know that there's been a case where I definitely think it's happened at least one other time.
Like maybe
Because
the
the
GSP Johnny Hendricks, maybe is that it? I mean, I
no,
could.
I actually have pictures of him putting the belt on GSP for that one. I
Mm,
no, I'd have to think about it. Maybe next week I'll be able to come up with it. But I have
yeah.
to look back through the list of champions and think about who was having some conflicts with him. Um, was it Stipe? I think it was maybe Stipe in the Cormier fight. For
Mm,
some reason, I feel like there was something involved in that, but obviously, don't quote me on that. But I'm gonna look that
mm,
up. But for
yeah.
some reason, I'm thinking maybe Stipe might have had an issue with that. But you know, just Ngannou does his thing. He's gonna have his knee surgery. He's out about 10 months. He does apparently have a clause in his contract where there's like a sunset clause where it does expire after a year, even though he had became the champion. Is what I believe I was reading. So
Mm,
I'm not real sure. You mentioned before we started recording, Dana White's doing a Q&A right now, but I don't expect him to really say much about Ngannou. I don't expect him
no.
to do anything. I think he'll probably just push him to the side. We'll likely get a John Jones versus somebody for an interim heavyweight title fight. And if Ngannou comes back, then they'll unify it. If he doesn't, they'll act like he just doesn't even exist. Um, I think and then they'll eventually release him after a year and a half of inactivity due to the surgery and them just not promoting him at all.
Mm.
So that's
So
kind of what I see. I don't think they're going to do him any favors.
no. Apparently, I'm just looking at some of the tweets coming out because the Q&A is over. Outside of mentioning that it's not signed yet, but they're trying to make Tony Ferguson and Michael Chandler happen. And I mean, again, it's just something they want to do. Nothing's signed, nothing's official. And then apparently, when it was brought up the Ngannou thing, he said something happened backstage and he couldn't make it back to the cage on time. So I mean, it just looks like the 30-minute Q&A was. It's funny when I saw this thing announced and all the heat that was coming off after it. I was expecting to see because the last time we sat down with Laura Sanko for one of these out of nowhere Q&As, it was so he could announce that he was releasing Chris Cyborg from her contract after she recorded them backstage talking about the Amanda Nunes rematch. So I thought we were going to see that, but it doesn't look like it. So I guess the times they are changing, especially when you go public and you have shareholders and folks looking at your books and stuff. You know.
Just I googled real quick. Stipe Miocic snubbed by Dana White.
Hmm.
Here's where it comes full circle. He snubbed him in the fight where he beat Ngannou the first time.
Oh wow.
He handed the belt to his cornerman to put around his waist.
Oh wow.
So back then, it just seems like maybe there's a problem with whoever's carrying the heavyweight title and trying to claim, get some money that Dana White seems to have the problem with. So yeah, there's still photos of it and everything. I knew it was Stipe. For some reason, I was thinking Cormier, but yeah, it was the first Ngannou fight um, when Dana White did the same thing. So
Hmm.
I can't remember if it happened prior to that. I don't think it happened much in the Tito days because when Tito was champ, he really wasn't hated so much by the UFC. It was kind of after he
Hmm.
lost the title that they started having more of an open public
Hmm.
dispute. But yeah, seems like it just has an issue with paying the baddest man on the planet the proper amount to fight for that piece of gold. But
Hmm.
crazy,
Hmm.
crazy. I'm not sure what happens from here. Like I said, probably an interim title, but we'll have to see how that unfolds. Other UFC news that broke today. You got it. May 7th, UFC 274, Justin Gaethje, Oliveira, lightweight title fight. Maybe they bring it to Brooklyn for you in exchange for swapping out 273.
Oh,
I don't
I
know
don't
if you
know.
want that. I don't know if you even want that. That might be the curse of
No,
the.
no, they only need to come to Madison Square Garden when they come. Never mind. Forget Nassau Coliseum. Forget Brooklyn because the Nassau Coliseum may as well be on another planet. Forget that. You got to come to MSG or just don't come.
Well, we'll see what happens. Apparently, the event was supposed to be in Brazil, which would have been an interesting, uh,
Hmm.
an interesting scene with Oliveira and Gagey doing it down there. But I mean, God, you got to be. It's what you asked for New Year's. At least him to
Yeah,
win the title and
or
get
at
this
least have the
title
chance.
bout.
Give him his
At least have the
opportunity. Yeah,
chance. Yeah, I mean, he's if he doesn't get it now, there's nobody he can.
because he lost
It's
to Khabib. Okay, that was a chance, but he definitely deserves another chance. Like because he keeps on beating everyone,
mhm.
and in such a fashion that again, I mean, I forget how many performance of the night bonuses. It was like 20 something between them in their whole careers. So it's definitely something that with all the talk of the possibilities of this guy, that guy, and McGregor, that no, you had to give it to Justin Gaethje. So he deserves it.
Yeah, no, I agree. It's gonna be a fun fight too. Carlos Oliveira continually shocks the world
Hmm.
with his wins, and you know, maybe a big win. You don't think Khabib would necessarily come out of retirement, but if Oliveira starts knocking off, he knocks off Gagey, and he
Hmm.
already knocked off Poirier.
Yeah.
Assuming McGregor doesn't just get
Yeah.
gifted a title shot and eventually earns his way there, and or
Yeah.
has to at least win one fight,
Yeah.
and Oliveira wins that fight, then you know might
Yeah.
you might see it. You might see it.
I don't know. I mean, well, I mean, so you just mentioned Khabib in retirement, but I mean, the first Eagle FC event's going to be this weekend. It's free on something called FLX Cast. If you go to eaglefc.com, you can sign up for it. It's free. So if it's a free way to watch fights, we're all about it here at Coast to Coast Combat Hour. But in the fight capital of the world in Florida, um, it's going down this weekend. Tyrone Spong versus Sergey Karatanov is the main event. I know Rashad Evans coming out of retirement's on that card. Ray Borg is on that card, and there's a lot of Dragostans on that card. And um, I don't know, man. I mean, I think he doesn't need money. I think we all know Khabib doesn't really need like money. He's not hurting for money. So I mean, something I don't really see him coming out of retirement for anything. But this Eagle FC looks interesting. I like the card. I just it's on Friday night. Um, I'm interested to see how something streaming on a free app. I mean, I guess ticket sales in Florida. I don't know how they're going to make some and advertising sponsors. I don't know, or maybe money's not an issue. They just want to do it.
Yeah, this is the first event they're going to hold in the United States, but the
Hmm.
organization which he took over had established themselves. This is actually considered an event number 44. So the event things
Mm.
probably got a nice little, income fund. If they decide to spread to the United States, I'd imagine they've established themselves with a nice stream coming in of money, whether it's sponsorship, whether it's, state promoted. You know,
Hmm.
there could be a lot going on behind the scenes when you talk about Habib and Dagestan and all the ins and outs of that part of the world. But good card. I'm interested in Rashad Evans coming back, fighting Gabriel
Hmm.
Checo. Um, Fernando Gonzalez beat Checo about 3 years ago now,
Mm.
out here in Southern California. I know he's been kind of a mainstay on the Submission Underground events. So I'm just kind of interested to see how Rashad does. His everything kind of ended abruptly for him, pretty ugly in the UFC.
Hmm.
So I'm interested to see if this is just another one of those kind of
Yeah.
embarrassing returns, or if he comes out and looks
Yeah.
good.
I
John
hope it's
Howard,
I
you know,
hope it's the latter only because sometimes these guys just need some time off. Like we're hearing Henry Cejudo talk about, like, he retired because I mean, he really did a lot to his body in his whole flyweight run, his champ run. But you know, then he recently just said that he was like, I needed to give my body a break and time to heal, and I mean, Rashad Evans is from a time where the evolving of this sport has been asking a lot more, and he was already kind of getting too old to keep up with that type. So maybe the break will do him good. I'm looking forward to seeing it too.
yeah. I wonder if this is how this event's going to be. I wonder if it's going to kind of be for older UFC fighters. I wonder if they're going to use it kind of as a feeder to try to get some veteran fighters
Hmm.
to kind of get a big win and then maybe get another shot at the UFC. Or I don't know if Karatanov's contract is with Bellator, but obviously he's fighting here now.
Yeah,
I don't
and
know
they're
if
doing different weight classes. Like they're doing the halfway point, like the 65, the 75s. So.
so that'll make it interesting too.
Hmm.
Tyrone Spong in the main event, Glory kickboxing, just absolute animal. I saw him he made his MMA debut at World Series of Fighting 1
Hmm.
in Las Vegas years ago. 2-0 in MMA. Uh, Sergey Karatanov is going to be a interesting opponent. Tends to stand and swing, kind of for the fences. But I wonder if he's going to use some of his
Hmm.
old school Russian sambo base to take down the Tyrant Spong. I mean, at Karatanov, the amount of wear and tear he's taking, I don't think if I was his coach, I don't know if I'd tell him to stay there and stand and bang.
Yeah, yeah, especially against someone like Tyrone Spong, who I mean, like you said, when he was in his run of glory, that was fun times, fun times.
Yeah. Speaking of standing and banging, also Saturday we have BKFC Jackson, Mississippi. Not quite the fight capital of the world, but uh, you know they got a nice card coming to them this weekend from BKFC. So Elvin
That's their
Brito,
first one of 2022, right?
yes,
Yeah.
yes, yeah, and then they had Knucklemania. We got Knucklemania 2 in February. So
Knucklemania.
who would have thought? But yeah, Caleb Harris, Elvin Brito for I believe it's their welterweight title is the main event. Alan Belcher
Hmm.
makes his second BKFC appearance, looking like an absolute titan in his debut. Fights Bobo O'Bannon. Uh, very good BKFC fighter. Has some very good wins. Known, at least to me, and we've talked about on the show with like Chris Lytle and Sean Wheelock for
Hmm.
like FaceTiming his his coach in the UK, right in the middle between rounds on an iPad. So with with the headset on, so that's interesting. Jocelyn Jones Lieberger from UFC also makes her debut. Banger earlier on the card, Quentin Henry and Chris Sarro, uh, two big boys. Gonna be some swinging. So looks like they got a 10-11 fight card right now scheduled.
That's
Hopefully
Friday or
that holds.
Saturday?
That's also Saturday.
Okay.
That's Saturday at 8. 8 Eastern.
Yeah.
The Eagle FC starts at 6 Eastern, so it is an early
That's on
start
Friday though. That's Eagle FC's
at
Friday. So
Friday. So here on the
yeah.
West Coast, the prelims will start at 3 p.m. And and go into the early evening. Um, and then really for the show, the highlight for the weekend. Also CFFC 105.
105. Yeah.
Aaron Jeffrey defends his title versus Rex Harris in the main event. I know you've spoken to Jeffrey several times. He's been on the show
Yeah, and
before.
I was trying to get him on for, but my timing was off when I messaged him. I didn't realize how close it was to this fight, and with everything he has to go through to get to and from home in Canada to Philly, if folks aren't paying attention to the whole situation up north, to our friends up north, and how hard it has become for them to train and work out, and especially if they're in the fight business, it's not easy. And something about that kid, he definitely does not take his eye off the prize, despite his I mean, not for he's been on Contender Series twice, and he loses by decision. I don't think we should be hard on him. If he'll come back, he'll probably win this weekend. You know what I mean? And if it's not the UFC, then let it be Bellator, or maybe get a PFL contract, or if Eagle FC's got some bread they want to throw around, or even, hey, I mean, I wouldn't be. I mean, if one ever makes their move to North America, I hope they give him a holler, because he definitely deserves it.
Yeah, like you said, some tough situations, some tough luck. Um,
And there's nothing
re-
wrong with the CFFC either, because they're
no, no,
I love Fury Pro Grappling, everything they've been putting out in the last, especially lately in the last, like, since the pandemic started. They've definitely been a lot of fun to watch. And CM
yeah.
Punk is there.
That moves us then to you know probably the main event. UFC had their unification heavyweight title fight last week. This week, Bellator goes to Phoenix, Arizona for the first time for
Oh
Bellator
yeah,
273.
this is the one we're gonna do
Ryan
our picks
Bader,
for. So
Valentin Moldavsky,
yeah,
champ versus interim champ. Uh,
it's a good
good,
main
good,
card.
good,
Do we
fun
want
main
to
card. Some
do we
names on
want
the
to start
prelim.
with them, or do we want to work our
Yeah,
way down?
yeah. No, we'll start at the bottom and work our way up. Just mentioning a couple names. Darian Caldwell's on the prelims, and friend of the show, Syed Awad, is also on the prelims. So pretty
Yeah,
loaded card. A lot of potential. A lot of action. A lot of
yeah,
action to be seen
yeah.
on
There
Saturday
goes
night.
Big Tuna's back on the prelims. That's going to be on YouTube. So if you're on the Big Tuna hype train, Ben Parrish, you definitely want to take a look at that. But we'll try to do our best to give you some good picks for the main card of Bellator 273. Um, I don't. What's the bout order here? We're on Bellator.com. So
I have Homasi and Jaleel Willis.
okay, so
Looks
I
like
got it
the
right.
opener.
Yeah,
So yeah, Sabah Hamasi, Jaleel Willis, Hamasi 15-10, Willis 15-3. Hamasi coming off of two losses in a row. Fight of the year candidate versus Paul Daly in a
hmm
tough loss to Andre Korshkov. Jaleel Willis coming off of a loss as well, following a 6 fight win streak prior to that. Uh, I'm gonna go with Willis. I think
yeah,
that Daly fight took something out of Homasi. I think that might have even been kind of the, you know, pinnacle in a sense of violence and everything that is good. Everything that
yeah,
he wants to bring to the table. But I just see Willis winning this 15-3 is a nice record, tough competition, up and down his resume, fighting in Bellator, fighting in LFA. So I'm gonna go with Willis to win. Um,
yeah. Hard not to.
I'm gonna go by decision win. I think Hamasi's pretty damn tough. I don't think he'll get finished.
Yeah, no, I think we're on the same page with that one. So I won't belabor the point, but for the same reasons. So, um, this one I'm gonna be. I mean, it looks like the fans are. I like that Bellator puts this fan prediction percentage on the bottom too, on their website. But Henry Corrales versus Aiden Lee. I'm a big fan of Corrales, so I mean, hard for me not to root for him. He's definitely an exciting featherweight to watch, or a bantamweight rather, but he's fighting a featherweight for in this fight. But every time he's fought, I've always enjoyed watching him. So most of it looks like the fans are picking Corrales to win it as well. As far as method, I don't usually do methods for fights like this, just because it's hard to get that specific. Um, but I mean, I wouldn't be surprised if he got a TKO.
I'm going with Corrales early third round
Mm.
TKO when
Yeah,
both
that's
fighters coming off wins, but you know, I think Corrales is just a slight level ahead of Lee, and I think that you know unless he's kind of on the downside, then I think he wins this fight.
yeah, and he's like a deep waters guy too. Like it's like if the fight goes longer, kind of like Joanna Champion, former strawweight champion in the UFC. Like I can't say her last name, Joanna Jędrzejczyk. I always mess it up. But like she was in her career on her when she was ruling that division, she was always dangerous towards the end of the fight, and that's how I always see Corrales fighting. Like if the fight goes to the end, it's probably going to go his way. And then we got this homeboy Benson Henderson versus Islam Mamedov. Uh
Yeah, Mamedov coming off a win over Brett Primus, Benson Henderson on a slide. Um,
yeah, and
three tough losses in MMA.
yeah,
Uh,
the last time I was in New York for media at the Viacom building, Benson Henderson and I sat and had a nice long chat for MMAnews.com, and that's why I said homeboy because I really I like him as a person and as a jiu-jitsu guy. I mean, I'm just you know, watching him as long as I have, I hate to be put in a position to have to like be objective and not, remove myself from that, but I feel like this Islam Mamedov might be just one of these guys that decisions him.
yeah, I think so too. I mean, it's hard. I know Benson Henderson's the three losses in a row are to, you
Hmm.
know, Chandler Jackson and who was it his last one? He had another uh, big opponent, Brett Primus. So I mean, he's
Hmm.
lost to the best of the lightweight division, but
Yeah.
when the guy's 20-1, you find a guy in a three-fight losing streak. Unless
From
Benson
from
Henderson,
Russia with the beard and no mustache, like
yeah, I gotta go with him.
yeah.
You know, I just think that I don't know if I think like you said, I think Medov will just kind of grind his way to a win. I
Hmm.
don't know if it'll be pretty. The Primus win wasn't pretty for him, but I think he'll just figure out a way to squeak out a win.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, let's look at the heavyweight world title.
Ryan Bader, champion. Valentin
Woo.
Moldavsky, Team Fedor, interim champion.
Mm-mm-mm.
The fans, 49 to 48%, 2% draw, and 1% unknown, apparently. Um, wow. I love to see the split. I'm going with no surprise. Team Fedor's Moldavsky. I think Ryan Bader's just on the downside. I think he peaked winning the heavyweight Grand Prix. I
Hmm.
think perhaps doing the cut up and down, wasn't maybe the best thing. I think Moldavsky's just the younger, hungrier, ready to take over I just think that he's the next thing. Bader's up there in age. Moldavsky's 29 years old, right in his prime.
Hmm.
I, I I think he wins. I think I think he kind of follows the Nemkov playbook a little bit and a little bit of mugging and takedown and actually maybe muscle up Ryan Bader a little bit. But you know, I don't see him getting knocked out in the one punch fashion like King Mo and Fedor did in the Grand Prix. That kind of paved his way with
Yeah.
two quick wins.
I just brought up the odds because I'm interested just to see where the odds are. Ryan Bader's the underdog for this, and Moldavsky's the favorite. Um, I would assume that's just because of I don't know. I mean, they did. Let me see.
I think recent bias. They've seen Bader lose a
Yeah,
couple fights, and
yeah. I
and
mean, they're not too different. I mean, I'm looking on fight odds, so they pull from everywhere. Um, I'll say DraftKings because that's where I play. They got plus 215 at DraftKings, minus 265 for Moldavsky as a favorite.
so close.
Yeah, yeah, just as close as these predictions from the fans. So did you? So you're going Moldavsky?
I'm going Moldovsky to win a 5-round fight. I'm going to take him by 4th round finish.
Mm. You said Moldavsky's Fedor's boy, right?
Yep.
Yeah. Oof. I feel like I gotta watch tape or something. I mean, because Bader always can wrestle somebody, make it boring, and get a decision if he gets to him. You know what I mean? But this guy's Moldavsky's definitely not too shabby. You know what I mean? Like if you're looking for holes in his game, I can't think of like
His only
anywhere.
loss is a split decision to Mir Ali Akbari, which is like
Yeah,
in Rising.
which is
Um,
why that's why I'm saying like he could wrestle him. You know, he could wrestle him to death and make it boring and win. But does he want to do that, especially when you've already lost one belt? And I don't know. I guess I'm gonna have to agree with you and pick Moldavsky. Um, yeah, is he bigger? He's only an inch. They only have an inch taller. I mean, the weight. I think they're just doing it
Bader's
because
not going to be 265.
yeah, he's
That's
gonna
not
cut for
accurate.
that.
They'll be close in weight. They'll be close in size.
Yeah,
Um, 38 for Bader, 29 years old for Moldovsky is probably the biggest.
yeah, and it's hard to go against a younger guy in this too. You know, especially at the ages you just mentioned.
And
Yeah,
Moldovsky, his run in Bellator has been pretty. When you go Vassell, Ayala, Roy Nelson, Tim Johnson,
yeah, yeah,
stymieing all of them.
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, 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 yeah. All right, cool. Yeah. No, yeah, Moldavsky.
Sold.
Yeah, but you said Moldavsky. You think he's gonna get a finish?
I think he's going to finish Bader. I think he'll tire Bader out. I think actually
Mm.
Moldovsky might be the one that kind of wrestles down Bader like Nemkov did.
I
And
wonder if you think. I mean, I gotta look. I gotta do some make this note for myself. I gotta do some because I want to put some money on something this weekend. So I want it'll be this main event. I feel like just because it's so close, I have to. You'd have to do like a prop bet of method of victory bet. You know what I mean?
yeah,
Moldavsky. All right, I gotta look up and see how susceptible to subs maybe he might be. I feel like I could see that happening too. Um, but yeah, the knockouts for sure. But yeah, it should be fun, man. I'm glad Bellator's getting their first one out of the way for the year, especially on a non UFC weekend. So we just talked about Eagle FC, CFFC, BKFC, and Bellator. So before you start your bitching for the weekend that there's no UFC, there's no fights. There's 4 events going on both Friday and Saturday all together. So I mean, I don't know. It's going to be hard to keep up with everything because a lot of stuff is on running into each other. I believe like Saturday will be a 2-screen night for me. If I'm snowed in, especially with because it'll be Bellator and CFFC for me. I know you're gonna watch the bare knuckle, and then Friday we have the Eagle FC. So
Eagle FC's got its own time frame.
mhm.
The US or the let's see here. So the CFFC starts at 7 p.m. Eastern time. BKFC starts at 8 p.m. Eastern time. So you got an hour
Mhm.
gap there, and then Bellator prelims start at also 7 p.m. Eastern.
Yeah, that's
So
why.
yeah,
That's why I was like, it's gonna be a 2-screen night. It'll be like my laptop and my TV, but um, I mean, just really quick, like we mentioned I'm bringing back up the Bellator screen again because of the prelims. I mean, like you said, I mean, when you look at when you guys guys that have headlined and been main card before. I think they're doing it on purpose because of the Showtime, format that they're on now. But they seem to have been stacking their prelims with guys like Sadawad and Caldwell since they made this move to Showtime, and I don't mind it at all because it's a good way to get folks unaware of oddly enough. I think I mentioned it on the podcast before. One of my associates at my day job um, fell in love with Michael Chandler, and I told him to go on Pluto TV and check out Michael Chandler's old fight, and they did, and they're like, I can't wait for him to fight again. So if you're looking for that type of talent, man, I mean, this is Bellator.com or Showtime Sports YouTube channel. That's a good way to get your fight night going on Saturday. Especially if you're going to be snowed in, if you're in the Northeast, the fucking horrible weather that we're having up here.
Yeah, I won't be snowed in, but I will be watching.
Thanks, Matt.
All right. Well, a lot of action this weekend. Fans can maybe catch up on some of it following us at Combat Hour on Twitter, Coast to Coast Combat Hour on Instagram. Follow me, Matthew Hawkins, at MMA Hawk 21 on Twitter and Instagram. Follow Ed at Carbazol on Twitter, Carbeerzol on Instagram, and Old Head Carb on Twitch. Again, we're always brought to you weekly by allaccessmma.com. Check out allaccessmma.com for MMA news and our video podcast. I'm looking forward to Friday, Ed. Got to get there.
Yeah,
Talk
me
to you later,
too.
brother.
Peace.